Hello, we're back. Hi, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Mary. I make videos about plays, comical, tragical, historical, pastoral, and fantastical varieties. Today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the best 3 books to read if you are an aspiring new director or if you're just looking to improve your craft as a director. I should say, disclaimer, I've never studied directing formally. I only have my own experience to go off of. And when I became a high school theater teacher and was going to be directing all the time, I knew that I needed to find something that would help me give language to my theories about directing. Because I think every actor knows what a good director is, assuming you've had one. I suppose even if you've had a bad director, you can tell that they're not a good director, right? We all know what good directing is, but so often I think we struggle to put words to it. And so I did a lot of reading, especially that first year of teaching. And these are the 3 books that have really stayed with me and still inform my craft today. So let's get started. So the first book that I'd recommend is The Actor and the Targets by Declan Donnellan. It may seem a little silly that my first pick for a director would be a book about acting, but I bet you'd agree that to be a good director, you do need to know a thing or two about acting. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be the best actor in the room. In fact, you're probably not going to be. And it's probably best if you don't consider yourself to be above your actors in any way. We'll get into that a little bit later. But understanding what an actor is going through is so pivotal to your role as a director. Directors are not just there for blocking, right? I think sometimes people get this idea of directors as, oh, they just tell people where to stand, right? Or worse, they tell people how to say their lines, that kind of thing. But not at all. In my opinion, the director is there to bring out the best in each artist they work with. And to do that well, you need to understand what they're struggling with. This book will give you the vocabulary that you need to meet those struggles. Declan refers to it as the legs of a spider. It's these questions that an actor will ask that will show you that he or she is blocked somehow. So one thing I absolutely love about this text is that Declan will never refer to one actor as being more talented than another. I think talent is a total trap and a total myth, right? There aren't talented and untalented actors. Human beings by nature, we are all actors. Uh, but when it comes to the stage, some of us are more blocked than others. And so being able to identify the block and help an actor break through that block, you're just releasing the artist that's already inside of them, the actor that's already inside of them. I don't think a good director will ever blame their actors, right? It's just, oh, I'm stuck with this person who can't do the role. No, that's a really unhelpful path to take. They can, and if you can't help them overcome their block, right? That's on you as a director. So, how do you do that? In this book, Declan lays out the idea of a target. So often, actors get caught up in this idea of acting in a vacuum somehow. They think they have to emote. They view acting as this internal exercise. And yes, there is some amount of internal exercise going on, but that's not usually very helpful to a production. I can't tell you how many plays I've seen where it seems like each actor is doing something really cool, maybe, but it's in a vacuum. It's separated from all the other pieces. You need to, as a director, get those actors into the same world, acting together, acting upon each other and reacting to one another. Actors will be trapped in their heads all the time. It is our natural state, I think, to be just so self-obsessed and self-absorbed and kind of watching ourselves act from like a third eye somehow. It's your job to get them to stop doing that and to start seeing through the eyes of their character. And again, all of this is the target. The target is always external. It's something that the actor is acting upon, and it's always moving. It's always changing, so it doesn't stay stagnant, right? It's your role to help them see what their goal is, what they're trying to do with every line. Declan, he's got this great line where he says, all text attempts to alter perspective, every line that your actors say, they're not just saying for no reason. It's not just poetry, right? If it's Shakespeare, it is poetry, but there's a reason for saying it. And you can get more specific than this, and you should, but every text, every word that you say is an attempt to alter perspective. Part of the reason that the target is always external, right, is because an actor can't be the thing they're playing, right? Asking an actor to be more sad is like asking them to be more cold, right? You can, if I ask you to pretend to be cold, right, you'll give some signs, but you're not actually being cold. And the same thing will happen with sadness, right? I might cry, I might tear up, I might you know, do a frowny face or something, or add a tremor to my voice. But these are things that these are signs that are showing someone how you feel, which is not actually good acting. All those things might happen, but they're all self-obsessed. You need to get your actor out of their head. And so you need to give them a target, something to work on, something to work towards. Declan has this great line where he says, "We can either show or see, but we cannot do both. Seeing is about the target, showing is about me." So you're not trying to show someone that you're sad. You're seeing through the eyes of your character something that may have the byproduct of making you sad, but seeing also leads to doing. You're more able to naturally inhabit your character when you see the world as they do, rather than seeing the audience and thinking, oh, I need to cry or they won't believe me. So anyways, yeah, read this book. It's a really good one. And it's full of great exercises too that you can play with your actors if you get stuck as well. But it's all about freeing that actor from their block, from their fear, and allowing them to more fully inhabit the character, which is I think the crux of what you're doing as a director. So the next book that we have on our list is A Sense of Direction by William Ball. Finally, you're saying we're actually getting into books about directing. This one does take a more zoomed out view. So if our last book is just on acting, this one, of course, says a thing or two about acting, but it also gives a sense of what your role is as a director. How do you relate to your actors and your designers and the other people you're working with? And then also, how do you relate to your audience? So it says a lot more about the specific duties of a director. One of the most important things that I think he talks about is how to create an atmosphere of creativity in the rehearsal hall. My friend Bill here is very clear that when you're a director, you're not in a position superior to your actors. I mean, there is a sense in which, yes, like you need to lead them, but you need to also understand that they are smarter than you, and that the play will be so much better if you're able to harness their creativity with your own. Your role as a director is never to force actors or designers to do exactly and only what you say, right? It's about coaching the best out of them. And this is why Bill says, and I strongly agree, that you should never, ever give line readings to your actors. They will ask you for them. They will say, like, oh, should I say it this way? Is it okay? Does this sound okay? But your goal is not to show them how to act, right? If you show them how to act, either through line readings or by standing up there and standing or gesturing the way that you want them to, that's the quickest way to get a show that's all you. And then you're going to look at that show in the end and think, this is terrible. Trying to put on a show with only your ideas is the quickest way to have a terrible show. Bill understands that. And so he's got great advice for how to set the tone, how to set the tone in the rehearsal hall with designers, with the audience. One of the most telling things that I think Bill says is not just to accept ideas from actors and encourage them, but also to be quiet as a director. Lecturing your actors about the true meaning of the play, it's the surest way to have I shouldn't say that you're going to have a bad play if you lecture your actors about what you think the play means. But ideally, it's a quest to uncover the meaning together. If you're trying to impose your lecture ideas, your own like PhD pet project onto a play, it's not going to be the best play that it could be. And if you lecture your players for too long, they're going to realize that their ideas are not welcome, that it's only your ideas, and so they won't share. And someone sitting over there is going to have this genius idea that would have made the play 10 times better, and you've just lost it. I don't want to say that as a director you're not directing, right? It's your job to kind of pick and choose and create cohesion. But if you're not willing to listen, you're already shutting the door on creating the best play that you could. Ah, so good. This book is so good. Bill also has really great things to say about your relationship to the audience. We have all been to plays, I guarantee it, where you can feel the director looking down on you. You can feel your own sense of inferiority compared to where the director has stationed themselves. I've walked out of 2 plays in my whole life, at intermission, not like during it. And both times it was because the director was looking down on the audience. And it's not fun to sit through a play when you're being treated disrespectfully, to be honest. Yes, you as a director can be disrespectful to your audience if you're not careful with how you approach directing. He says to be careful not to take an inferior or superior attitude towards your audience, but to be like a missionary, right? The advocate living among the people, advocating for this play, for this piece of work. One thing I love about what he says about your directorial style is that a well-directed play should seem effortless. It should seem to happen of its own volition. It should seem to happen as if it could not stop itself from happening. A skilled director does not push. His fancy, his invention, and his imagination are not manipulative. An artful director, a skilled director, conceals her footprints. I just think that's so magical and really says it all about directing. It's not a job that's about ego or hubris or anything like that. It takes a lot of discipline and effort and humility and sacrifice to make the play the best it can be, to lift the play up, to lift your actors up, and to let it, in the end, speak for itself. If the audience can see you all over a play, you're doing something wrong. They should see the play, not you. I hope I'm not seeming like disrespectful of directors here. I've had so many great directors in my lifetime. I've had some hard ones too to work with. It's a mixed bag out there. And Ball, he just has great advice for how to set up your rehearsal room, for how to treat your actors. He's got great advice too for giving notes. So many directors need to read his little blurb about giving notes. He says, you have to go very rapidly. It will become debilitating to the actors if the director uses the opportunity merely to talk. Go off, King. He's got great advice for curtain calls, for navigating kind of disagreements with designers or between designers and actors, that kind of thing, for tech rehearsals and how to run those. There's a lot of common sense in here. Being a director is really a position of service. And Bill does a great job of bringing that out and teaching you how best to serve. It's a hard job. It's not easy, and it doesn't come easily. It does need to be learned. And so, anyways, highly recommend A Sense of Direction. My third pick is probably going to seem a little bit like a wild card. It's Impro by Keith Johnstone. And you might be saying, what does improvisation have to do with theater? I'm putting on a scripted play here. But I think that Keith really gets to the heart of what a play should be, which is a play. I think sometimes we get so caught up in doing something right or doing something deep or artful or impressive that we totally miss the bus on what acting is. It's playing, right? Actors are first and foremost players. You're in a play. There should be an aspect of playfulness to everything you put on the stage, even tragedies. If you're not approaching a tragedy with some playfulness in the rehearsal hall, I I just think you're doing it wrong somehow. Um, and I think Keith Johnstone would agree with me. As an actor, I think one of the most important things you can do is cultivate a habit of joyful play. Coming to rehearsal should be part of that, cultivating a habit of joyful play. And so that's why I think directors should read this book. It's quite similar to The Actor in the Target in that it's helping actors overcome block. Actors are blocked by fear. Yeah, that's it. It's mostly fear, different kinds of fear, right? You're afraid of different things. But this text is all about recovering the joy of play and just overall a sense of playfulness in the work that you're doing. Whether you're an actor or a director, you're constantly fighting that urge to get something right, right? And not just to get it right, but to get it correct. And that really limits your world of possibilities. And so Johnstone brings a whole bunch of different exercises and ways to approach scene work, that kind of thing, spontaneity, status, all of that, as ways to, yeah, bring back the play, bring back the joy. That's what we need. You might be wondering, what does spontaneity have to do with the theater? And you're right, Johnstone will go on a huge tangent about masks and trance and people being possessed by their masks and that kind of thing, which reading it, you're going to be like, what on earth? But all of those chapters, even the weird ones, I think are getting to the very important idea that you are not the source of your creativity. If you as the director think that you are the source from which this play is going to come to life, that is a very bad again, a very bad model for how to create a play. It's going to lead to a ton of burnout, but like, you would be the source? Like, are you God? No. Like, the creativity is coming through you. You are a conduit for that creativity, that playfulness, joy, and life. And that's so freeing, I think. You can be in so much anxiety when you think that you are in charge and only you can do it, and it has to come from you, from something within you. And your creativity does come from you in a sense, but you're not the source. uh, you're not the source of your own creativity. I think he really starts to kind of unpack the mystery of creativity in this text in a way that I just love. I think that it uh, can be freeing for a lot of people to read. Johnstone, again, full of ideas and workshops and ways to unblock your creativity and your students' creativity, or your artist's creativity. You're not going to want to do the most extreme ones. In fact, probably don't. You probably can't do them safely. Uh, but it is just really helpful in terms of shifting your attitude towards the true purpose of the director, which is not to create, but to facilitate play, and creation happens that way. So that's my list. These are the 3 books that I like most for directors. But of course, I have to say, no book is going to be a substitute for experience. For your experience as an actor, probably primarily. As an actor, you learn the most, I will say, about what you like in someone's directing style versus what you don't. You know good directing when you experience it, and bad directing when you experience it as well. Even more so than reading these books, I'd encourage you to keep acting, and keep going to the theater. These are things that will build your craft probably more than any textbook could. But these are useful supplements. I go back to them again and again. They're super helpful. Yeah, so those are my thoughts. What did I leave off of the list? I was just thumbing through the front of Impro, and I was like, Stanislavski. Oh, maybe I should have maybe I should have picked some Stanislavski to slide in here. But am I missing other great texts? What do you read as a director? What do you recommend for other actors to read? I think that these three are the best ones out there that I've encountered, at least. If you have more, please drop them in the comments below, because I would love to continue reading and learning. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.